My dear child, you keep wondering deep within your silent prayers if you're missing something, some sign, some sacred whisper, some moment of divine recognition that will suddenly silence the ache in your chest and calm the constant swirl of thoughts within. Something from heaven that descends softly like light through a stained glass window. Something that feels so real it anchors you, finally, deeply, forever. But the truth is, nothing really settles, does it? Not fully, not yet. Not when you're lying awake at night trying to quiet the storm inside. Not even when the world around you seems still. Because your heart keeps trembling beneath the silence. Your soul keeps stirring like a tide, waiting for the moon's pull. And you feel it, don't you? That weight under the surface. Something wholly growing, expanding like unseen roots in the soil of your spirit. A divine pressure you can't explain that rises when you're alone. When you're still. When you're closer to the edge of surrender than ever before. But every time it builds, you pause, you second guess, you hesitate at the edge of holy awakening and wonder if maybe it's just your imagination. Maybe it's just emotional noise, not the whisper of God himself. And though you don't speak it out loud, not even in prayer, the thoughts still drift through your heart like clouds across a restless sky. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe this ache in me is just restlessness, not calling. Maybe I just want it too badly to know what's real anymore. Maybe I've gone too far. Maybe I'm too late. Maybe I missed it. And still, even in your questioning, my love has never wavered. My eyes have never turned away. For I know every crack in your soul, every word you've swallowed, every tear you never let fall. And I see how hard you've tried to keep believing, even when you doubted yourself. Even when your faith flickered like a candle in the wind. Because I placed that longing inside of you, not to torment you, but to draw you home. Not to confuse you, but to call you higher, deeper, closer, and child. What you feel is not madness, not mistake, not fantasy. It is me. It is me reaching beyond time and space to touch the tenderest part of your soul. It is me awakening what the world tried to bury. It is me writing eternity on your heart. And yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Because birthing purpose always is. And what you sense growing under the surface is not pressure, but promise. Not restlessness, but revelation. Not confusion, but calling. And the reason your heart won't settle is because you weren't made to settle. You were made to rise, to burn, to awaken, to walk in step with the voice that spoke stars into existence and still knows your name. And no, you haven't missed it. No, you're not too late. No, you're not disqualified by your doubts, because my timing is perfect and my grace is greater than every hesitation you've ever known. And this stirring within you is the echo of heaven, announcing that the season is shifting, that your wilderness is turning to water, that I'm closer than your next breath, that you are not abandoned, not forgotten, not broken beyond repair, but chosen, beloved, pursued. And what you feel right now, this weight, this ache, this holy unrest, is not something to fear, but something to follow. Because I am in it, I am behind it, and I am ahead of it, preparing you for what your eyes haven't seen and your ears haven't heard, but your spirit knows deep down is coming. And yes, it's me, always me, gently awakening your destiny from its sleep. You become so careful, so afraid of getting it wrong, that you've started to mistrust even the holy restlessness I myself have placed in your spirit. The thing is, this restlessness isn't random. It's a sign, a holy agitation. You've asked me to use you, but you've also expected me to remove all doubt before I do. You've asked for me to open the door, but only if I also remove every unknown behind it. Child, that's not how I've ever moved with the ones I love. Moses didn't feel ready when I called his name from the burning bush. He protested, stuttered, and listed all the reasons I should send someone else. But I didn't choose Moses because he felt prepared. I chose him because I prepared him through the wilderness. I chose him because he was willing, even when he was afraid. And that's what I see in you too. Fear, yes, but willingness beneath it, a trembling hope that still whispers, "Use me, Lord, if you still want to." Let me say it clearly. I do still want to. I haven't changed my mind. The tug in your heart is not self-created. I authored that longing. I planted it when no one was looking. It grew quietly while you were still recovering from the last season. I didn't wait for you to finish your healing, to start whispering your purpose again, because sometimes I use the calling to finish the healing. You thought I was waiting for you to become confident, but what I was really waiting for was your surrender. There's a subtle prison the enemy built around you. It doesn't look like chains or sin. It looks like wisdom. It sounds like maybe later. It hides behind language like stewardship, responsibility, and preparation. But under that, fear reigns. Fear of being wrong. Fear of starting too soon. Fear of disappointing me. Fear of being disappointed by me. So you delay not out of rebellion, but out of hesitation. And I want to call that hesitation out gently, but clearly. I never asked for your perfection. I asked for your trust. Readiness was never about what you feel. It was always about who you're with. You're not stepping into something alone. You're stepping with me. And I never call someone out without also going before them. The path may be uncertain, but my presence is not. And if you'll let go of needing to feel certain before you obey, you'll finally begin to see just how much I've already set in motion on your behalf. You've sensed it, haven't you? The shift in the atmosphere, the way your spirit leans in a little more when certain conversations happen. How even the words of others now sound like confirmations rather than coincidences. I've been surrounding you with signs not to overwhelm you, but to remind you I've been preparing you all along. Not just through the sermons you've heard or the scriptures you've memorized, but through the dark places where no one was watching. Through the nights you held on to me when nothing made sense. Through the disciplines you built when no one celebrated your consistency. Those quiet acts of obedience, they matter more than you know. But now you're at a threshold, and I can't let you stay there forever. Thresholds are only meant to be places of passage, not permanent homes. And that's what this moment is. A divine threshold. A place where comfort must bow to calling, where logic must yield to the Spirit, where fear must be named, not obeyed. I know what you're afraid of. You're not just afraid of failing. You're afraid of stepping out and discovering you were never enough to begin with. But let me speak directly to that. You were never meant to be enough alone. That's why I gave you my Spirit. That's why I promised to walk with you, speak through you, strengthen you. The enemy has twisted your humility into passivity and your discernment into delay. But I am untying that lie now. You're not the cautious one. You're not the one who always needs more time. That's not your name. That's not your identity. You are my vessel, my image bearer, my chosen one. And I chose you. Knowing everything you would doubt, I chose you with full awareness of how many times you'd need reassurance. And still I call you now. Let me remind you. You've heard me before. You've obeyed before. And you didn't hallucinate my voice back then. Why do you question it now? The same presence that led you out of that last pit is still with you, now leading you into purpose. You haven't missed me. You're not behind. You're just standing on the edge of something new, and your feelings haven't caught up to what's already true. The thing that's burning in your spirit that's not pressure, it's the weight of glory. You've asked to carry my presence. Well, now it's resting on you, and you're wondering why it feels heavy. My glory always feels heavier than your comfort zone, but it will lift you if you let it lead. So breathe. You're not failing. You're not stalling. You're just waking up to the reality that I've already moved. And now I'm asking you to move with me. You don't need to be fearless to obey. You only need to say yes. The trembling can stay, but let it tremble forward. You're more ready than you feel. And I, the Lord your God, go before you. You've been asking me for clarity, but I've been trying to give you courage. You say, God, just tell me what to do. But I'm not just after your behavior. I'm after your belief system. The problem isn't that you don't hear me. It's that you hear me and then filter my voice through your unhealed fears. I say you're ready, but you run it through your shame, your past, your need for external validation. And suddenly, it doesn't sound like me anymore. It sounds like pressure. It sounds like obligation. It sounds like risk. But I never speak to you like a taskmaster. I speak to you as a father. Let's talk about that filter. Somewhere in your story, calling started to feel like a test you couldn't afford to fail. Somewhere, you began to believe that I only release people into purpose when they have no more weakness left. But that was never my pattern. I called people at the most inconvenient moments. I met prophets in caves and apostles in prison. I anointed David while he was still smelling like sheep in disappointment. Readiness has never meant polish. It has always meant surrender. So here is the spiritual lie I'm exposing in you today. You don't have to feel complete to be commissioned. You've been led to believe that I only use those who feel strong, but my power is made perfect in weakness, not avoided by it. If you're waiting for the fear to go away before you obey me, you'll be waiting the rest of your life. But if you move now, even trembling, that obedience will break the lie, that fear gets the final word. You think it's humility to say, I'm not ready. But sometimes that's not humility, it's agreement with fear. And I didn't give you that spirit, I gave you boldness. Even if you don't recognize it yet, it's in you. It's been there all along, hidden beneath the pressure to get everything right, buried under the weight of comparison. You don't see it because you've been measuring readiness by someone else's fruit. You've been asking me, why don't I feel like them? But child, you were never called to feel like them. You were called to move like you in the rhythm we've built together in secret. That's what I love most about you. You don't realize how closely I've watched the way you love me behind closed doors. You think no one notices when you sit in silence just trying to hear me clearly. But I saw every time you chose the narrow way. I saw the mornings you woke up with nothing but weariness and still whispered my name. I saw you weep when no one came to affirm your value, and still you chose to worship. You thought that season was empty, but I've been storing every drop of oil, and now I'm ready to pour it out. But first, I need to confront the story you've been telling yourself, that if you were truly called, it wouldn't be this hard, that if you were really meant to do this, you'd feel joy all the time, or at least some sense of ease, but purpose often starts with pressure. Fire always comes before fragrance. Don't curse the heat. It's refining you, not rejecting you. You say, but God, what if I fail? Then I'll be with you in the failure. I won't abandon you, because something didn't go the way you pictured. I'm not here for your performance. I'm here for your heart. I don't measure success the way the world does. Sometimes success is simply obedience in the face of resistance. Sometimes it's standing when it would be easier to run. And sometimes success is you saying yes when everything in you wants to hide. I didn't call you to perform. I called you to carry. And you've been carrying my presence well, even in the wilderness. That's what makes you ready. Not your credentials, not your connections, your character in the hidden place. That's what moved me, your endurance when no one applauded. That's what qualified you. You keep looking for an outward confirmation, but I've already placed my seal inside of you. The anointing isn't coming later, it's already on you. Now I'm asking you to stop treating it like a seed and start walking like it's a mantle. Let me say something you may not have heard before. I trust you. Yes, I know everything about you, your weakness, your fears, your fragile days. And still, I trust you with this calling. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to be led. You think it's arrogant to believe you're ready. But what if it's actually obedience to believe what I've already declared over you? You've been asking me, but Lord, what if I'm not enough? And I've been asking you, when did you start believing you had to be? I'm enough for you, I'm enough through you. My grace is the ground you walk on, and grace doesn't demand that you prove yourself. It invites you to walk in the truth of who you already are. So here's what I want you to understand. I'm not calling you because of what you bring to the table. I'm calling you because you belong at the table. because I made a seat for you, because I knew this moment would come. And I wanted your voice to carry something no one else's could. You weren't a backup plan, you weren't a later option. You were always part of the design. And if the enemy has been screaming louder lately, it's because he knows too. He knows what you're carrying. He knows what I've placed in you. And if he can't stop me, he'll try to delay you. But no more. The delay ends now. Not just in your circumstances, but in your mindset. I'm breaking agreement with fear. I'm untangling you from the lie that you need more time. I'm rewriting what you call readiness. It's not about ease, it's about alignment. And child, you are aligned. Let me walk with you out of this fog. Let me speak louder than your uncertainty. Let me remind you, once and for all, that the fire you feel isn't a threat. It's the beginning of your release. Let's go deeper now, beneath your prayers, for clarity, beneath your questions, about timing, beneath even your fear of failing. Let's go back to where this resistance truly began, because I've seen that it's not just about calling, it's about identity. Somewhere along the line, you started confusing action with acceptance. You believed that if you couldn't do it perfectly, you weren't worthy to carry it at all. And so the delay didn't begin with fear of the future. It began with a fracture in how you see yourself. There was a moment, maybe years ago, maybe in the quiet of this past season, when someone made you feel small for trying. Someone laughed when you dreamed too big, or they looked past you, when you showed up with your whole heart. And something in you started shrinking that day. Not outwardly, you kept serving. You stayed present, but inwardly, you began editing yourself. You convinced yourself it was maturity, but it was actually a wound dressed up as wisdom. And the wound went deep. Not because of what they said, but because of how closely it echoed. What you already feared, that you weren't enough. That you weren't the type that gets chosen. That people like you need more proof, more training, more time. So you started collecting confirmation like armor. You kept receipts of every word of encouragement, every prophecy, every open door, just in case you needed to prove to yourself again that you were really called. But even with all the confirmation, the ache remained, because the ache was never about the call. It was about your core. You didn't just need direction, you needed healing. And I've been doing that even in ways you didn't recognize. Every moment you sat with me in silence thinking nothing was happening. I was reaching into the places your words couldn't access. I was touching the trauma of being overlooked. I was softening the voice of self-sabotage that grew louder every time you tried to step forward. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not disobedient. You're protecting yourself from disappointment. And I see that. I see the armor you wear, even when you pray. I see the guarded way. You ask me for direction, as if you're bracing for a no. But child, I've already said yes, and I'm not changing my mind. Let me say what no one said when they should have. You didn't deserve to be dismissed. You weren't wrong for being passionate. You weren't weak for needing affirmation. You weren't too much, you were just misunderstood. And the enemy used those misunderstandings to build a system of delay in your spirit. He whispered lies like, "It's safer not to try." And if it's really from God, it will come without pressure. But that's not how I trained my children. That's not how I trained Joseph in prison, or Esther in silence, or Jeremiah, when he said, "I am only a youth." You're not disqualified by how long it's taken to get here. But I need you to stop calling delay preparation when it's really fear. I need you to stop naming your self-pity protection as discernment. You've already been prepared more than you know. Not by strategy, but by struggle. Not by status, but by staying with me when no one else stayed. That's where I did the real work. In the secret place, in the quiet decision to keep showing up, even when you felt unseen, that faithfulness wasn't wasted. I counted every tear, every question, every hour of waiting. I haven't missed a thing. And now I'm gently uncovering the lie that formed in that waiting. The lie that said, I have to feel strong before I move. That lie has kept you bowing to emotion instead of stepping in faith. But emotion is not your master, and fear is not your filter. I never said you had to silence every doubt before obeying. I only asked you to trust me more than the doubt. You've given fear a microphone for too long. Let me reclaim the stage in your spirit. It's okay to admit that you've been scared. That's not rebellion, that's honesty. And honesty is where healing begins. I'm not pushing you, I'm drawing you. There's a difference. Pressure says, do this or else. But I say, come with me. There's more. I'm not rushing you, I'm releasing you. And there's a holy difference. This next part of your life doesn't require a new version of you. It requires the real you, the one you buried under caution, the one who loved me boldly before the world told you to tone it down, the one who still burns inside you, quiet but not gone. Let's bring that part of you to the surface again. Let's walk back to the moment you stopped trusting your fire and started idolizing your fear. Let's reclaim that territory. That part of your heart still belongs to me. You haven't disqualified yourself, and what you carry hasn't expired. The calling didn't fade just because your confidence did. I can restore confidence, I can renew clarity, but I never needed you to feel perfect. I only ever needed you to stay close. And you've stayed close, even in your questions, even in your fatigue, even in your doubt. You never left me, even when you thought I had gone quiet. I see the loyalty of your love. I see the ache of your longing. And I see your readiness, even when you don't. You are not where you started. You are not the same as you were. And though you still feel fragile, I'm telling you now, you're being made strong in all the right places. Not to impress anyone, not to outperform anyone, but to withstand the weight of what I'm about to place in your hands. I'm making you ready in your roots, not just your resume. And if you'll let me continue to confront the lies gently, truthfully, you'll feel something shift inside. Not suddenly louder or bolder, just freer. You're ready, not because you feel brave. You're ready because you're finally ready to stop hiding. You may not realize it yet, but things have already started shifting. You keep waiting for a dramatic breakthrough, some kind of spiritual spotlight that announces the beginning of your next chapter. But I rarely work through spectacle. I move in the small signs. First, I move through the nudges you almost dismiss, through the people I've placed near you who keep repeating the same truth you've been afraid to believe. Through the closed doors you didn't expect, and the unexpected openings that made your heart beat faster for reasons you still can't explain. Those are not coincidences. That's me. That's movement. That's the cloud beginning to shift above your tent. That's the river changing direction beneath your feet. I'm already redirecting your path, even before your mind fully catches up to what's happening in your spirit. You've been wondering why your pieces started feeling conditional, why the things that once comforted you now feel constricting. It's because I'm loosening your grip on the familiar to make room for the fulfilled. Some of what's draining you right now isn't even about spiritual warfare. It's the exhaustion of trying to stay in a place I'm already leading you out of. You've outgrown certain patterns, certain relationships, certain versions of yourself. And that doesn't mean you're prideful. It means you're being transformed. That inner resistance you feel isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that your old container can't hold what I'm pouring in. It's the tension of transition, and it's holy. You've been craving clarity, but I've been giving you confirmation instead. Think back. Haven't you noticed how often your spirit gets stirred in moments that seem random? How many times I've echoed the same word, the same image, the same message, through different people and places. That's not repetition, that's rhythm. That's me aligning your hearing to my heart. You're not confused. You're just waking up to the frequency of your calling. And listen, I haven't just been preparing the path for you. I've been preparing you for the path. Some of the isolation you felt wasn't punishment. It was positioning. I pulled you away from certain distractions, not because they were evil, but because they were too loud. I needed to teach you to hear me again without the noise. And now that you've learned that sacred stillness, I'm beginning to guide you with new clarity, not louder, but deeper. Not with answers that calm every fear, but with instructions that pull your faith forward. So look closer. There are already signs of breakthrough. That opportunity you dismissed as too soon, I placed it there. That conversation that stirred your courage, I orchestrated it. That heaviness lifting slowly off your shoulders. That's the beginning of liberation. You keep expecting to feel a lightning bolt of confidence. But sometimes confidence arrives, like morning light, slow, soft, unstoppable. Even the way you're beginning to pray again, less out of desperation, more out of expectation. That's a shift. You may not have noticed it, but I hear the difference. I see your heart opening again to the idea that this might actually be your time. And child, it is. No. Dear child, I know you wonder sometimes if you really deserve the good things you've been praying for. But let me whisper this truth into your soul. You are not only worthy, you were chosen. Chosen to rise, chosen to be loved, chosen to carry light in dark places. Your heart, full of innocence, kindness, and quiet strength, attracts blessings like the sun calls the flowers to bloom. Even when you feel forgotten, even when you're tired, your name is still written on my hands. Your tears are still counted. Your silent prayers still echo in my heaven. Gratitude, my dear, is not weakness, it is power. And every time you say thank you through your pain, you shake the walls of heaven, you stir the winds of miracles. I see the days you kept believing when nothing made sense. I see the nights you cried in silence, holding back the scream. You kept going, even with your heart breaking, and that kind of faith does not go unnoticed. You don't need to force what's meant for you. You don't need to chase love, acceptance, success. They are already running toward you. You just stay open, stay grateful, stay grounded, because your future isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak, it all had purpose. You may not see it now, but the puzzle is being assembled in ways beyond your comprehension. And yes, I know there are moments you doubt me. You wonder if my silence is rejection. You wonder if I've moved on from your prayers. But no, child, my silence is not my absence. It's preparation. I'm building what you can't yet carry. I'm growing you into someone who can receive more than you ever asked for. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Your delay is not denial. It's divine timing. I haven't forgotten you. I'm saving the best for last. I'm not just going to meet your expectations. I'm going to exceed them. When the time is right, you won't need to push open doors. They'll swing wide for you. You won't have to beg for love. You'll be surrounded by it. You won't chase peace. It will find you and sit beside you like an old friend. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to trust me. Trust that your life is not random. Every high, every low. I'm using it. You haven't missed your moment. What is yours cannot be taken, delayed, or destroyed. It's written. And even when you feel lost, even when you feel unworthy, I am still guiding you, still believing in you, still calling you by name. You are becoming something beautiful, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Don't compare your timeline to others. Don't let shame be louder than my promise. And don't believe the lie that says, you're too late. You're right on time. My time. So breathe, celebrate today, but also look ahead with hope, because I've placed wonders in your future. Hidden blessings, divine connections, open doors. They're already in motion. You don't see them yet, but I've already written the breakthrough into your story. And when you finally arrive there, when you see how every hard season turned into beauty, you'll understand why you had to wait. You'll thank me for every no, for every silent season, for every moment you didn't get what you thought you wanted. Because what I had was so much greater. So don't give up now. Don't lose heart. The best is not behind you. It's ahead of you. And I'm walking with you every step of the way. And child, if only you could see what I see when I look at you. Not the flaws you obsess over, not the failures that replay in your mind, not the moments you wish you could undo, but the radiant soul that kept going, kept loving, kept showing up even when everything inside you screamed to give up. And I need you to know that nothing you've walked through has been wasted. Not a tear, not a heartbreak, not a silent prayer whispered into the void, because the void was never empty. I was there, collecting every word, every cry, every sigh, shaping it all into something eternal, something weighty with glory. And I know it's been hard to believe, hard to hold on, hard to keep smiling when the world around you tells you that it's pointless to hope. But oh, my beloved child, if only you knew what's coming, how the story turns, how the light breaks through, how the people who walked away will be replaced by those who cherish you without condition, how the doors you thought were closed forever were just waiting for the right moment to open into something bigger than what you even dared to dream. Because I am not limited by logic, not restricted by time, not controlled by statistics or trends or odds. I work in the realm of the impossible. I specialize in the miraculous. I dwell in the space between what is and what could be. And when you surrender your timeline, when you trust my pacing, when you lay down the need to understand and pick up the courage to believe, that's when the shift begins. That's when the foundation starts forming beneath your feet. That's when the atmosphere begins aligning in your favor, and yes, it may not feel like it yet, but there are angels moving on your behalf, divine appointments being scheduled, chains falling off in silence. And I know you don't feel strong right now, but strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's the choice to rise anyway, the decision to breathe one more time, to hope one more time, to believe even when there's no visible reason to. And that, child, is faith. Not flawless, not fancy, just persistent, just steady, just real. And your faith is opening doors that no man can shut, opening heavens that seemed sealed, awakening gifts inside you that you forgot you had. And I am not far, I am near, nearer than your next heartbeat, closer than the pain you hide, more present than the doubt that tries to silence your soul. And you wonder sometimes, don't you? If I really hear you, if I see the war in your mind, if I notice the way you fight to stay kind in a world that often feels cruel. And my answer every single time is yes. Yes, I hear you. Yes, I see you. Yes, I delight in you. Even in your mess, even in your questions, even in your weakness, because your worth is not measured by perfection. It's rooted in who I created you to be, and nothing can cancel that. No mistake, no rejection, no season of silence. And child, I haven't forgotten what you prayed for. I haven't overlooked your heart's desires. I'm just writing a better version of the story than what you had in mind. One that doesn't just answer your prayers, but redeems your pain, heals your wounds, elevates your identity, and launches you into your true calling. And even if it's taking longer than you thought, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because I'm building something stronger, something deeper, something that won't collapse when the winds rise. And you are not stuck. You are being prepared, and you are not alone. You are being surrounded, and you are not behind. You are being aligned, and even when you don't feel it, I am working, I am weaving, I am shaping the outcome, because I don't just want to give you what you want. I want to give you what will last, what will bless generations, what will awaken your soul and bring joy that this world can't steal. And no, the enemy hasn't won, even if it feels like he's loud right now, because I still have the final word. I still hold the pen. I still command the seas and the storms and the stars. And if I can set galaxies in motion, if I can split oceans and move mountains, don't you think I can take care of you? Don't you think I can restore what you lost, rebuild what was broken, breathe life into what felt dead? Because I am the God who brings beauty from ashes, the God who sees the one sheep wandering in the dark and leaves the 99 just to bring it home. And you, my child, are worth coming after, worth rescuing, worth redeeming. And I don't see you as a burden. I see you as beloved, chosen, carried, held. And when you reach the end of yourself, That's where I begin. That's where grace pours in. That's where transformation happens. So don't let go of hope. Not now, not here. Not when you're this close to breakthrough, this close to healing, this close to clarity, this close to divine alignment. Because what I'm about to do in your life will not just restore joy, it will overflow it. And what once felt like punishment will suddenly make sense as preparation. And every time you cried alone, you were never truly alone. I was holding every piece of you, and I'm still holding you now. And I know, dear child, that you've grown weary of waiting, that the silence feels like a wall, that the delays have started to whisper lies into your soul, that maybe it won't happen, maybe you missed it, maybe you're not good enough. But I want you to know with absolute certainty that my delays are not my denials, that the longer the wait, the greater the weight of glory attached to what's coming, that I am not punishing you. I am perfecting what you will carry, and I have not withheld love or light or favor from you. I have only been preparing the exact timing where everything aligns for your good, because I am a master of precision, not coincidence, and nothing about your journey has been random or wasted or invisible to me. And I see how hard it's been to keep believing, to keep trusting, to keep your heart open in a world that so often teaches you to shut down, to numb, to harden, to protect yourself from hope so you don't hurt again. But I didn't create you to just survive. I created you to live fully, to love freely, to dream boldly, to rise even when the world tries to bury you. And I know you don't always feel brave, but courage isn't loud. Sometimes it's just the quiet choice to keep waking up, keep showing up, keep choosing light when the darkness keeps calling. And I honor that. I bless that. I move in response to that.